up, everybody? Another week, another great topic, another great guest. This is exciting for me because the stories that we are about to share on how we met is awesome, but the information that this gentleman is about to share is even more awesome. I'll talk about it here in a second, but bottom line is he posted something on Facebook and I was like, hey, I need you to come on the show, and that's what it came down to. So here today, we're going to talk about something called the 5 R's of post-Squadron Command. Now, here any day now, or by the time this release is, or when it comes out, it will probably have already come out. But, there's going to be a Squadron Command selection list here in the very near future, if it hasn't already by the time you watch this. And there's going to be some people that are going to be thinking about, okay, going into command. On the flip side of that, there's going to be some people thinking about going out of command. So I'm actually targeting that specific audience today. There's various phases of command. You have that just like a deployment. You have like your pre-deployment, you have your during deployment, you have your post-deployment. I think the same is to be said for command in the Air Force, in particular, Squadron Command. Various levels of command, I think this is going to be able to be applied to. But in this case, we're just talking about command as a whole, and in particular, Squadron Command for this gentleman right here. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let me welcome to the show Lieutenant Colonel Mike Newson, United States Air Force. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here. Again, thank you for the opportunity to share just a little bit of leadership perspective on your platform. Your platform is awesome. As I told you before the show, this is Matt, kudos to you for giving everybody a chance to share their individual stories. You give them the opportunity to share something that may resonate with people depending upon where they're at in their careers, where they're at in life. So kudos to you for that. And again, thank you for having me on the show.
Thank you. And I thank you for highlighting that point because, not only are we sharing messages, we're sharing stories too, and opportunities to allow us to humanize ourselves. In fact, I recently recorded an episode that's going to be released here soon, and it's literally called What's Your Story, right? It's always our story. It's up to us to tell it before someone else does. So I appreciate you for acknowledging that. And I am looking forward to hearing your story. On that note, I was caught on my heels the other day, just earlier in the week, and I went to meet someone in person who I was going to record with. And one of the questions he asked me, I was not ready for, but I will be ready for it in the future. From here on out, I'll never forget it. I sat down with him and he said, "Who are you?" And I wasn't really ready to answer that question because most of the time when you have an interaction with someone, they go, "So what do you do? Where do you work?" Those kind of things, right? So I now am firmly set in the fact that those are two distinguishable things, and I'm ready to be able to tackle both. So I'm going to offer you an opportunity, first of all, to tell us currently, what do you do? What is your role and responsibility as it stands today?
So first I'll go into job role and responsibilities. So I have the privilege and honor of working for the DAF CIO, Mrs. Goodwine, on her staff. So that's just been an awesome. I've been in the seat for a few months. So I actually work in budgeting resourcing. So shout out to SAF CNSR out there. And that is just a whole world of acronyms, a whole world of process that you don't see until you're in that 5-sided building. So it has been an amazing journey so far, and it has been shaped by my boss. I have an awesome boss who allows me he's empowered me first, even though I walk in the door not knowing anything. I know nothing about budgeting, finance, all those dirty words that we kind of hear about, and now I'm experiencing them and I'm a part of the process. So he has always empowered me. We have always been able to have conversations. He's created teaching and learning moments. Anybody who's with me in command knows I talk about teaching and learning moments all the time. And so he has allowed for the teaching and learning moments. I've asked some silly questions. Sir, just talk to me. What is a bogey? What is a disconnect? There's some very elementary questions to make sure that I am knowledgeable as we're going out and impacting the DAF as a whole. And so I've enjoyed that job so far. I have the opportunity to go out to Langley as we're reshaping for GPC as an Air Force. And so this is a great time to be in the 5-sided building. So I'm thankful for that. So that is what I'm doing currently. personally, it's funny that you asked that question, like, who are you? I think the first thing that came to my mind is the roles that you have for the personal people in your life, right? A son, an older brother, husband, a friend, mentor. All of those things shape who I am, right? There's all these outside influences that shape who you are. And then you have your core being, the things that you believe in, your faith, your outlook on life, your moral compass. Those things shape who you are. So when someone asks that question, it's multifaceted. But for me, that's how I answer it. Start with those titles, and then, hey, this is who I am as a person. When you meet me, this is what I will exude. This is what you will get from me.
Very good. This is very good. I appreciate you sharing both sides. I think, again, you used the word multifaceted because we are not one thing. What we do doesn't always necessarily define who we are. It doesn't necessarily define what we are. It's just some things that we do. And so going forward, since we're here to talk about post Squadron Command, one day when I become a commander, I will make sure that I don't just ask a person what they do. Hey, so what does it say you do here? It's like, who are you? Like, where are you from? Just kind of dig into it a little bit deeper. So with that, it's a good transition because quick, easy, funny story about how you and I met. For a long time, I told you that I bumped into you accidentally when we first met. It wasn't by accident. I was actually sitting in my office and I looked out the window and I saw this lieutenant colonel that I hadn't seen before. And at the time, I was really kind of into, doing MAGCOM functional management, helping with talent management, putting people where they are best suited, and things like that. And I saw you walking outside into the building. I was like, I don't know him. So perfect time. Let me just go to the restroom, and so bumped into you in the hallway and I was like, hey, how are you? That kind of thing. And that's how the relationship went, for a long time. I think I let you know, I was telling you, oh, it was an accident. And I remember going to a coworker's office and saying, hey, I just bumped into this guy, that kind of thing. So I get to that point to say, that was prior to you actually going into Squadron Command. I Googled you as you should before you interview your guests, and you got to do the homework. You have to do the homework, and it was August of 2022 is the picture that I saw of when you assumed command, and I looked at your picture. I saw that you had the guidon in your hand. The group commander that was there, I happened to know as well, and I was like, oh man, it's really cool. I remember seeing it when it first happened, but today I went back to look at the picture, and I was like, that's the beginning. That's the beginning of Squadron Command. Then I also found a picture of when you relinquished command, which was July of 2024. Not very long ago. So there is a huge connection we've got to make between those two pictures, but we really want to talk about after you relinquished command. One thing I know for sure is that you have been getting some rest, which you're probably going to dive into since you took command. And I would just tell you, it's been an honor watching you from the beginning to the middle to the end. And so with that, I actually want to kind of dive into your 5 R's of post Squadron Command. I saw you post this on Facebook after you ended your Squadron Command duties, and I immediately said, hey, this sounds like a podcast episode to me with my little eyeball emojis, right? And so,
Right.
so here we are. Tell us a little bit about the 5 R's of post command as a whole, and then we'll dive into each one.
I think to start the conversation, though, you have to ask the question, why do you need 5 R's in the first place, right? We always come up with these acronyms, so we'll go with 5 R's. One thing, I thought a lot about this before I made that Facebook post. One of the things that resonated in my mind was that leadership and command are different for people, right? And there are different factors in command. The environment can create unique challenges and stressors. The interpersonal dynamics can create additional stressors. People have either a year or 2 years where you are definitely on a tightrope. We can unpack the aspect of being a minority leader as well. There's something to be said about that. In certain environments where there are not many leaders who look like you, and so you become the representative of your particular group. And so having that tightrope that you're walking on, the different roles that you have to play, right? Because yes, you're a leader, but you're a follower as well, right? You have a group commander, you have a wing commander. you have your peers as well, and then you have a whole squadron of people. As you know, I commanded at Osan, which is awesome. Wear my Osan jersey. They don't do jerseys anymore, but I still have mine. So commanded at Osan, and Osan. As soon as I tell people I commanded at Osan, they're, oh, yikes, Osan, ooh, exercises. Definitely some different challenges there. Some added stressors. The thing about Osan too is that it's a huge comm squadron. When you're used to, for me, I was used to, I've been a part of 4 other comm squadrons. I was used to small 80 to 100 people. We had about 240 people in that comm squadron. That's a mix of airmen. So you have a few civilians. We had a contractor, and you also have Korean nationals. And so you've got all these different dynamics that you take into account when you are a commander, and these different groups of people that you have to take care of. So you're taking care of the people in the squadron. You're taking care of the mission. You're taking care of those items that are important to your fellow squadron commanders, as well as tenant units, as well as your group commander, as well as your wing commander. Oh, and if you have a sub-unified command there, USFK, you've got concerns and there's interaction there. I also had the 7th Air Force A6 right across the hall from me, too. And so you have a lot of different dynamics and 6th or 7th ACOMs right down the hallway. And so our paths crossed quite a bit. So you have a lot on your plate, depending upon the environment that you're in. So you don't realize how much you're doing and how fast you're running until it's over. And so when I thought about it, there's I think some internal introspection, and then there's some resetting that you have to do in order to continue to be successful, because, hey, your journey's not over. You've commanded. Now you've handed over the guidance. Now, oh, hey, you're jumping into a new job. You've got a new responsibility and new things to do. So that's probably at the end of the 5 hours.
I got it. Well, that's good. First of all, I didn't know that the jerseys were not a thing anymore. I know that's like a staple in Korea. My brother's stationed in Korea right now, different base. But, I know baseball jerseys have been the thing forever. I didn't know that was no more. I didn't know that was a thing that had been gotten rid of. So that's good to know that.
That's a whole, we can have a whole podcast on that. Yes, they do not, they're not totally gotten rid of. I don't want to misspeak. They can wear them on special occasions. It's not for people who've been a part of Osan, it was typically every Friday was Jersey Friday, so you could actually wear this to work. They changed dynamic and for good reason, as we're ramping up for GPC, and we want to make sure that we give that idea and that appearance of deterrence. Hey, we're ready at any time, right? We're not resting on our laurels. That is Osan's primary responsibility, right? That deterrence, and then ultimately to prevail if necessary. And so I think that the optics are a key thing, making sure that, hey, no one thinks twice. No one thinks that, hey, we're just relaxing, hanging out and whatnot. So it was for a good reason. And the jerseys are still out there. So on special occasions, those when you get some time to relax, you can absolutely wear the jersey.
Okay, that's good to know. I hear the purpose and the reason behind it, and that does make sense to me. It resonates with me. I will tell you, first of all, let me just say I'm happy that you have taken some time out of your busy schedule to come on here and to get into what we're about to get into with these 5 R's. One of the reasons it took so long to get you on here is because you took that first R very seriously with relaxing. I've been trying to get you here, but you've been celebrating your birthday as you should, as you should. So with that very first R, as I pulled from social media and I read it through and through, the first R is relax, and you end that R by talking about you get to have uninterrupted peace. Can we dissect that first R of relax?
So I get into it a little bit later in my 5 R's, but I have never taken leave between assignments. I have been go. That's probably being a part of it being the type A, be it a part of it just being the person who I am. But always, hey, in one job, I'm fortunate enough to have a door-to-door move, and then boom, start next job and keep going. I think with this one, I had to take time to just relax, right? You're always on the go, especially I talk about the dynamics of Osan. always on the go. Something's always happening. Something is always going on. There's always a crisis or a situation or somewhere that you need to be, someone who needs your time, someone who needs your energy. So you're always on, on, on. You don't realize it until you're done. And so you have to take time to step back and say, I'm going to relax. I'm not. I told one of my peers emailed me. Sparkles. She was having an email issue, and I didn't see it until I started work. And I told her, I said, "Look, I totally divested myself of email. I did not look at email. I did not do anything. I took 30 days of leave and just relaxed. Right? No stressors, no phone calls in the middle of the night. None of those crises that come up with commanding a base comm squadron, because there are crises aplenty. All those stressors are gone. No more of the first sergeant calls as well. First sergeants are absolutely awesome, and they take care of your airmen, but they have to bring you into the conversation when some people make some not so good decisions. And so sometimes those phone calls come at 3 a.m. No, you get uninterrupted sleep. You get to manage your own schedule, right? When you're a commander, I swear, everybody else told me where to be and when to be there. I did not have command of my own schedule. I had an awesome secretary who made sure I was on time. She would always say, "Sir, you got somewhere to be." Yes, ma'am, I'm going. And so you have a lot of people tugging at your time. When you relax, you have nobody. Your time is your own for a change, for that brief period of time. So taking advantage of that and realizing that, hey, you need to relax. Calm down. There are no more crises. There's nothing more that you need to respond to. So that encompasses that first R of relaxing. I think that part is important too, because type A's typically don't know how to relax, right? Type A's are, want to always be on the go, always want something happening, always trying to be involved in something. No, pause, take a break, relax. It's not that serious. It's you've got time to yourself.
I needed that one. I feel like you're speaking directly to me. I know you are speaking directly to me, but I feel like the message was meant for me. And as a type A personality, I will tell you, it is challenging to just learn how to relax and do nothing sometimes. Sometimes I feel more stressed when I'm bored than I am when I'm busy, and it should not be that way. We have to make that the norm. So I appreciate that, because when you're go like that as a squadron commander all the time, you get to the point where your body, I would imagine, is in your mind, it's just like that's what you're used to, and you just gotta. I love what you said. You took 30 days, like just disconnected, like for 30 days, and just focused. I think that's really amazing for sure. So
absolutely,
the relaxation thing is important when you first are done with command. You have to train yourself how to relax. And as you mentioned, someone actually reached out to you. One of the things I heard former ACC commander say, General Kelly, I'll never forget, he said, you have to train people how to treat you. And now it's important because people are so used to it. Hey, I got you. And I would imagine being a squadron commander in today's time, when you got cell phones and text messages readily available, back in whatever day it was when that wasn't the case, now people always have access to you. So taking that time to relax is really important. So that first R, being relaxed. Second R is relinquish. For those that may watch this that are not affiliated with the military or have an understanding of the military, when you take command, you either have a change of command, meaning the person that's in command at that time will hand over command to the person that's coming into command. So that's a change of command. If the person that you're taking command from has already departed, then you assume command. You have that assumption of command. And so when you assume command, or you have that change of command, you grab that guidon. It's the stick with the flag, and it's the marker for your unit. You are grabbing that guidon, meaning I think it's symbolic, because you're grabbing that unit. You're taking them in. This is mine. I own this now. But on the flip side of that, when you relinquish command, one of the things I highlighted in that paragraph with relinquish that you put out there was you have to let go. And so that's one of the last things you do with that guidon. You let go. Can you talk to us a little bit about relinquishing?
Yeah, I think that's the hardest part. What sometimes what we don't talk about with command is that while there's that operational piece and there's that mission piece, there's that people piece, and there's that interconnectedness that you get with people when you're in command. You're celebrating their highs and you're celebrating their lows. I remember one day I got 2 calls within 30 minutes of each other. One call was one of my senior NCOs had his first baby. The other call 30 minutes later was that one of my airmen's mother had passed away. So you're riding the wave with your airmen, with your civilians, and with that, there's and you get this emotional, kind of connection with everybody, right? You care about them as people. You want them to succeed as people, just as they want you to succeed as a person, right? At some point, I was no longer the commander. I was, Colonel Newson, and they wanted Colonel Newson to succeed. We want to make sure that Colonel Newson steps out there and is prepared. So that emotional connection, you have to let go of that. The sense of ownership that comes along with command too. When you take that guide on, as you relayed, when you take that guide on, it's yours. That is your squadron. You own the good, the bad, and the ugly. You do not get to blame the previous person. You don't get to blame, so down the road. No, you have to take that. That means that you take the praise and the kudos. That means that you take the spears as well. You take the crises. So you take all of that, right? It's yours. And so having ownership of something for so long, right? You've got this tight grip on it. And then all of a sudden, like in a moment, in a matter of seconds, right? It's gone. And so sometimes it is hard to let go. You see people still, keeping strings on and talking to people and whatnot. No, you have to get out of the way of that new commander. We talked about one of the things that we talked about. I didn't realize was a thing until I was there, right? So Osan was my first command, so I had a lot of teaching and learning moments there. But at your change of command, when you're relinquishing the guide on, it is customary for the outgoing commander. Once you leave that stage, you disappear. And it is about the new commander and the new commander stepping into that role, the new commander taking ownership. And so that's a part of that relinquish, walking out of the door and leaving it to that new commander, knowing that you're leaving it in good hands, knowing that you've done all you can to set that unit, that commander, that base, that wing up for success.
That's very good. I will say as well, I can relate to you got to disappear. I'm glad you brought that up because in one of my previous jobs as an exec, the group commander was on her way out. I mean, and it was to the point where they literally had a car standing by with the door open after she let go and said her spiel. She got in the car, she disappeared, nobody saw her. So it's not the time to hang around at the welcoming party for the new commander, none of that stuff. You literally disappeared. And that's it. And that's symbolic of the fact that there's a change of command. All the memos that had the previous commander's names on it, everything is gone. It's about the new commander now. So absolutely, you have to learn to let go and relinquish that and move on to the next thing, which we'll talk about here in just a little bit. You talked about the type A personalities and things like that. And I think you'll probably dive in a little bit about, self-reflection. Type A type people like myself, we can kind of be a little hard on ourselves. And I've told some coworkers before, hey, no one can be harder on me than I am on myself. So it doesn't matter what you tell me, I'm going to be the hardest on myself, period, point blank. So the third R is review. You talked about how this can be very hard. Help us unpack the review R.
So review, that's the thing that really involves some critical introspection, right? And you have to look at yourself through a critical eye. When you're maneuvering through command, you encounter so many different situations. You have moments of leadership, you have moments of decisions, you have moments of action and reaction. And so what's in the past is in the past. But as we navigate and grow, it requires that review, stepping back and saying, hey, what did I do right? What could I have done better? What did I do wrong? Right. And you've talked about in some of your other podcasts too. We don't talk enough about the wrong things, the things that we didn't do correctly, the things that, I wish I had done that a little bit tighter, or I had done that better, or I maybe could have decided a different way on that thing. So what that does, I think that helps set you up for success, right? That helps you grow as a person. So really taking the time to unpack some of those complicated situations that you're in during command. And so for me, wow, just the dynamics of OSAN, the interaction with my fellow commanders, the interaction with wing leadership and across the peninsula, actually, thinking about those things that happen, thinking about the crises that happen, thinking about the tensions that were there, right? As we're going through mission, there are tensions there sometimes. So thinking about those tensions, thinking about when, hey, it happens, right? Disagreements happen. So thinking about, hey, why did that disagreement happen? Was I too set in my own viewpoint of my mission set and I didn't think about the larger picture? Is there a way I could have navigated that better? Thinking about, hey, the way you interacted with people. Hey, could I have interacted better? Could I have softened, what I said? Did I really need to knife hand somebody? Or, hey, should I have knife handed somebody? Was I too soft in a situation? And should I have knife handed somebody? And so going through and really walking through critically and looking at yourself and looking at those interactions, I think, is critical to growth. When we don't do that, I think that we miss those teaching and learning moments. We miss those opportunities for growth.
Very good. I think I know that you have set the example for that. I've seen some of your transparency, even through command. When you might have had a challenging day or something like that, you revealed that and you let people know, because what that did was that humanized you. You weren't out there like, hey, I'm the commander, everything's perfect, because everyone around you is going to feel like they have to be as well. You're letting people know that, hey, I let the curtain down a little bit, and I'm letting you know that I have days like that too. But key is you get yourself back up and you keep it moving. So that self-reflection, that introspection can be uncomfortable, but you learn to be comfortable getting uncomfortable. And within that R review, you highlighted a little bit about the fact that everything's not all doom and gloom. You have to learn to celebrate the wins as well. So you keep yourself balanced. One of the quotes, because again, leading by example, I think that you also review along the way while you're in command. You had an opportunity within your communication squadron where you were innovating the data center. And when one of the quotes that you had in there was, innovation can be challenging, but holding status quo will easily lead to complacency and failure. There are so many innovative solutions right at our airmen's fingertips. And so that's an opportunity to kind of get people going and motivated to say, hey, let's just not sit right here. You reviewed along the way and said, yeah, everything may be good, but can it be great? And if that's the case, let's continue to innovate. And to me, that's leading by example right there for sure. All right.
So that's awesome. And it's awesome that you read. I didn't think that anybody saw that article. So that is awesome that you read that article. Thank you for reminding me of those quotes. I think one of the things I just want to pull the thread on and unpack, and you bring up a good point, is the role that we have as commanders. When people look at a commander and look at a leader, the image that you have to portray while at the same time balancing that humanizing aspect. And for type A's, that can be hard, depending upon who you are and what qualities you exude. That can be hard too. So I think that was one of my challenges, and one of my review points as well is, how do I ensure that I have that appropriate balance of, hey, being a leader, setting the example, doing as many things as I can right, while being human, admitting, hey, I didn't do that thing right, or I wasn't awesome at that particular thing. I think that it's difficult because people see different parts of you as a commander, right? And so that's a part of the review process, is how do you, for those people who see different parts of you, right, those different circles, right? So you have your tight circle, you have your DO, your chief, and your first sergeant. They probably are the closest to you, so they get to see more of those humanizing points. They get to see the way that you have to wrestle with decisions, the things that you may or may not like in particular situations, the difficulties and the challenges that you're facing. They get to see those things that you struggle with. Your airmen don't necessarily get to see that, right? When you're out with your airmen, you're trying to be, you're trying to set that example. You're trying to be the leader that they want to follow. And so figuring out how to balance that. Hey, I have doubts. I have struggles. Sometimes I'm unsure, just like you are. Hey, I am learning just like you are. I do not have all the answers, at all. That's a part of that review process. Hey, how can I be better at that? How can I ensure be vulnerable, be open with people, but still be the leader that people want to follow.
Very good, very good. So far, as we dive into these 5 R's, we've talked about relaxing. We know that you've checked that mark. We talked about relinquishing. You have checked that mark. You have done the review. You have checked that mark. Now, the fourth R is reset.
Mhm.
Help us to understand the reset and how it's slightly different than relax.
So the reset, you hear this from a lot of folks, especially coming from fast-paced jobs. When you move into a staff job, they feel like suddenly they've hit a brick wall and that they're still pinging, they're still in command mode, right? They want the crises, they want the, doing everything plus one. I love that phrase. A shout out to Tamika Payne for giving me that phrase. But they're used to doing everything plus one. In a staff job, you have more bureaucracy, things move slower intentionally, right? That is the way the system is set up and that is the way it's supposed to be. So that reset is really ensuring that, hey, taking a step back and being able to say, okay, hey, I'm in a new environment. I need to move differently, right? This isn't command. You don't move the same way in command than you do when you're in a staff position. And so really it's resetting your perspective, resetting your energy, resetting your openness. You're not the commander anymore, right? You've got to go do all your own stuff. You've got to set up your own meetings. You are responsible for your own schedule. You tell yourself where you are and are not supposed to be. And so it's getting into that right mindset for the environment that you're going into. I actually had one of the division chiefs ask me, he's like, "Sir, how did you just came from command and now you're on a staff job, so you're basically a worker bee again. How do you deal with that?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's not an issue. That's what we do. That's when I was in that role. That's the energy I had, and that's how I moved. Now I'm in this role. I did the reset." And so, hey, this is my energy and this is how I move. And so I'm good. I can thrive in both environments. And so you're surprised. You say, oh, okay. You hear a lot of people having that hero to zero, kind of crash there. And so I think that reset part is really important to make sure that you can continue to thrive in a new environment.
It's very good. It's very good. All these things are tying into my head right now as we get ready to transition to the fifth and final R. It's interesting and kind of ironic that, you finished being a communication squadron commander, and all I could visualize, not just with what you're presenting right now. And I think about like our young airmen that go out there and work trouble tickets and try to fix problems, and they get these trouble tickets. Sometimes they have to relax so they can figure out what the problem is. They have to sometimes relinquish to the factors like, oh, this is tier 3 issue. They have to relinquish the fact that they can't find it. They may fix it and they may review, hey, here's what we did this time. We can do this the next time. And then that number 4, our reset. Sometimes we tell our customers, did you reset it? Just reset the machine. just reset it, And then that fifth and final R, which also can be applied to communication. Sometimes it's just as simple as doing this. And the fifth R is to restart. Help us to understand the restart, the fifth and final R.
When we start a new job, right, we don't have the luxury of learning. I'm going to speak for self right now. When I started my new job, so I'm the deputy division chief for budgeting, EIT, budgeting and resourcing. So, wow, again, that is a huge and awesome job. But I didn't know anything walking in the door. I knew nothing about the processes or anything like that. I didn't get to say I don't know. I didn't get to pull the new guy card. I had one of my bosses asking directly some direct questions immediately. And so it's getting into the right mindset to be able to move, respond, and be value added to the team. You can't afford to go into a new job and rest on your laurels, especially when you're in a leadership position, right? People are looking at you, your leaders are looking at you. And not only that, but we're at the level where the staff is expecting something of us. And
Mm.
so you really have to get after your roles, responsibilities. So that restart is really getting into the blocks, right? I used to run track, so ran 200, 400. I was not good at either, but you get into the blocks, you get your next race, you get into the blocks, and when you hear that gun go off, you're sprinting again. And so I think that part is important too, because again, all those things, all those previous R's, allow you to restart successfully, to come out of the block strong, and to keep the sprint going.
This is very good. As I walk through and just kind of summarize it up for everyone watching and or listening, those 5 R's of post Squadron Command or honestly any commander for that matter. Once you are no longer the person in that seat, you have to learn to, number 1, relax. Number 2, relinquish. Number 3, review. Number 4, reset. And number 5, restart. With all of that, any final thoughts that you'd like to leave to the audience for current commanders, future commanders, commanders that were supposed to let go and relinquish a long time ago and still haven't yet? What kind of advice do you have to offer to these folks?
I would say that number one, command is challenging and hard, but you can do it. I did not expect to have this opportunity, but I was able to have this opportunity, and so I made it through. That was reliance on my peers, right? So you have your squadron commander peers that will support you. You will have leadership that supports you. You have mentorship that support you. You have people that'll be there in your presence who support you, and you will have people from afar. So lean on all of those folks who are there who want you to succeed, right? I'll go back to something that you said in one of your previous podcasts too, is that everybody will cheer for you, but not everybody wants you to succeed. And so know who's actually rooting for your success, and lean on those folks to help propel you forward. I know that you will have failures out there. I think I talked about that in one of my Facebook posts. You will have failures, and sometimes it's something significant. You will have network outages. You will have the crises. You will have the negative things. Again, you will get the spears. I think that a part of command, we don't talk about that, but there are those things that happen, right? You will have bad days. I was glad that General Blackwell shared that with me beforehand. Tonight, Mike, you will have bad days as a commander. And so being able to recognize, when you have those bad days and being able to rely on your immediate team and your support network to get through those bad days so you can celebrate those wins that come after the bad days. After command, make sure to pay your lessons forward. Man, there's so many things that so many leadership lessons that you have the opportunity to learn and experience. Make sure to share those with the up and coming generation, right? They're going to be in the same position. Again, you're going to talk a lot. For me, I talk a lot, and I love being able to mentor. I've been able to talk at flight commander leadership courses and being able to talk to people individually. You're going to say a lot. There could be a little bit that resonates with folks. As long as that little bit resonates with someone and they can take that and it helps them grow, that's the key thing. So make sure, I told myself that I have had some awesome mentors out there, and they've always told me when I'm like, I don't know how to repay you back, they're like, you can't do anything for me, right? Not in a negative way. You can't do anything for me. I am a 06, or I'm retired already. The best thing you can do for me is pay it forward. And I tell young people that now when they say, hey, thank you for being an awesome commander, or thank you for this. I said, hey, make sure you pay it forward. Find that young person, find that person who is hungry for knowledge, who wants to lead, or who is having challenges, right? And share your story with them. And that may help them through their challenges, help them grow as a leader. So I always continue to make sure that I pay that forward. So I give that to commanders after you graduate, have those conversations, unpack those tough things too that you dealt with. Have those realistic conversations, and make sure people know, hey, command is not all rosy. It is not all awesome. You are not the hero with the cape on, with the S on your chest saving the day. No, there are some trials and tribulations. There are crises out there. So have those real conversations, with folks. Have it in a professional, respectful manner, but make sure to have those realistic conversations, because that could resonate with folks, and that lets folks know that they're not alone.
That's very good. Very good. to the world, you may be one person, but to one person, you may be the world. So
Absolutely.
I need you, rest assured to know that you are certainly paying it forward, even by obligating some time right here today to be able to pay your leadership lessons forward. It's helping me individually, and I haven't started Command. And the fact that I actually am picking up on some of these nuggets of information, it's just not just going to help me, but it's going to be able to help the people that I lead as well. So I appreciate you for taking some time to, one, gather what you just did, because we're always so focused on going into Command. What is my speech going to be about? What is my mission and vision? What are they going to be about? And we're always thinking about those things about starting, but you have taken some time to actually talk about, what happened in your rearview mirror. It's almost like one of those things where, only really angry people fill out surveys, or people that are really, really happy, they fill out surveys, but you took the time to actually do some reflection just as a whole. So I appreciate that.
I will sidebar real quick because I want to fanboy for a second. So I have the book, and you see my bookmark. I love that vulnerability we were talking about, humanizing ourselves earlier. So I love the vulnerability and openness that you start out with, being able to talk about your humble beginnings, and that you grew so much, and you talk about the influences that you had along that path. So that resonates with me. I think about Airman Newson. I think about, graduating, Biloxi High, and then not knowing what my future looked like. And then, like I said, being Airman Newson, and then having the opportunity to go to the academy. Shout out to my preppies, B Squad,
Nice.
05 classmates out there. And then just the various jobs that I've had. But, I think about the jobs, but more importantly, I think about the people and the influences, both my peers as lieutenants, and we've all grown up together now. I just ran into one in the Pentagon the other day. We were lieutenants together at Keesler, first comm squadron, and now we're lieutenant colonels, commanders, and talking about these big rock things and how much that we've grown up. So I think about the mentors, the people who believed in me when I've had a Facebook post about this, right? People who saw things in me that I didn't see in myself. And they always challenged me to be better because they knew I could do it. And so I love that you're sharing that with us in that book, and it's just it's a easy read, but it's an easy read because you can identify and relate with it. So it's awesome for me. So awesome, great that you put words on paper. Like that. I like the preface from Chief Vasquez in there, and just write, just do it. And so thank you for sharing, not only with your podcast, but sharing in written word your story that helps inspire others.
Thank you so much. That truly, truly does mean a lot. I do appreciate you for taking some time to buy the book and read the book, and hopefully you take something good out of that. I'm seriously grateful for that. Also, just grateful for our time. You talked about those lieutenants that you were lieutenants with, and now you're lieutenant colonels and commanders together. Relationships are important, so I include this relationship as one of them. They're very important, and I hope this dialogue continues in the future, and not just on a podcast. Speaking of podcasts, I also want to thank you for watching previous podcast episodes. I know that you have referenced a couple of them throughout this recording. So with that, you probably know what's coming next. And I think it's time. I think it's time for our quick 10-question game of What Do You Prefer? Are you ready to play?
Okay, I'm ready. I'm ready for it.
Let's get it. Question number 1. You can strike off either Monday or Friday from your work week. Which one would you choose?
Ooh, I think I would strike off Monday.
Strike off Monday. Okay, very well. Number 2, would you rather have $20,000 or 2 million Instagram followers?
$20,000. Invest. All the people out there, make sure you're investing and putting your money in good places.
Very good. Very good. Number 3, not sure if you are a Star Wars fan or not. It's hit or miss when I ask this question. Would you rather talk like Yoda or breathe like Darth Vader?
Who? I would say talk like Yoda, because though he speaks in very short sentences and kind of does the subject, object, verb kind of thing, every time he speaks, it's something wise.
Very good. It's almost like Sun Tzu. Very short book, but very powerful.
Absolutely.
I like it. Number 4, would you rather live in a tiny apartment in the city or a house in the middle of nowhere?
Gosh, well, considering where I'm living now, no, I think a house in the middle of nowhere, because really that gives you that time to go through the 5 R's, right? You've got that space and that opportunity to just think and to be yourself.
Very good. Number 5, would you rather work a short shift of intense work or a long shift of relatively relaxed work, but you get the same pay? So a short shift of intense work or a long shift of relaxed work?
Well, right now I work long shifts with intense work. So let's go with the short shift of intense work. But in reality, no, it's a long shift of intense work.
I can relate. I am working long shifts with intense work right now as well. Number 6, would you rather become a chess grandmaster or an elite kickboxer?
Ooh, I think an elite kickboxer, because that forces that physical pillar to be strong. Like you're in total control, of your body, and then being able to anticipate the bad guys' moves, as well. So that helps you maneuver in real life. So kickboxer, let's go.
I like it.
Van Damme all the way. I'm showing my age. Like young people probably don't even know who he is.
Oh, I know who he is. So that means I'm not young. So I trust me. I know who he is. Question number 7. Which would you choose? Being the best at a terrible job or being the worst at your dream job?
I would say, that's a tough one. A part of me wants to say being the worst at my dream job, right? Because I had the credentials to get my dream job in the first place, right? So if I'm the worst at it, I have room to improve, right? And so I can argue that that's how I have to. Hey, I've got this awesome job. I am not the best at this job at all. There are a billion people who do the job way better than me, but I am on the path of improvement. And so that means that, hey, I've got some growing that I can do. So let's go with that one.
I like how you answered that. That's good. That's good. Number 8, which would you rather be? A great boss, but a terrible human being, or a bad boss, but a great human being?
Bad boss and great human being. And I say that because bad boss can be subjective, right? If you're a little too knife-handy, some people, or if you're too direct, or when I get my DX, I furrow my brows. And so that can make you a quote-unquote bad boss. But people who are close in your circle see the care that you have for people. And so being a great human being, that transcends any job that you have. So 100% all the way being a great human being. And hey, being a bad boss is temporary because you're not always a boss.
I'm rating this in the top 10, maybe top 5 of this game so far. Your answers are really good. Number 9, would you rather play the main character in a bad movie or a supporting role in a good movie?
Supporting role in a good movie. I think that's a balance of leadership, followership that we have. So, hey, I can follow and support, in many roles that we have to do, right? So I can do that. And good movies have good outcomes and have good endings.
Very good. Last but not least, would you rather never listen to old music again or never listen to new music again?
Never listen to new music again. Look, I'm going to date myself again. I have an iPod. Most people are like, wait, what are you doing with the iPod? I love my 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s playlist, my 90s playlist. I grew up on the 90s stuff. I mean, just love old music. And so typically when I'm in the gym, you'll see me listen to my iPod, right? Very few new songs on there. I would put on a playlist and just jam to those 80s and 90s hits. Sometimes I just go old school with it. I grew up on that stuff as well. My parents always expose me to all kinds of music. So, hey, I would rather, I love old music. So, hey, I'm totally fine with not listening to a new song ever again.
That's very, very good. I think you and I, we share the same sentiment there. That's pretty good. So, Mike, thanks for playing along in the game, first of all, but more importantly, thanks for your time and thanks for coming over and really coming on the podcast and just sharing your leadership lessons, paying it forward that will be of benefit to many people in the future. So again, I learned from it and I appreciate your time.
Thank you so much again. Just again, kudos to you for having a platform for so many different leaders at so many different echelons to share their story, to share their perspective. So I hope that this reaches somebody. Keep doing what you're doing. You are doing awesome. I love that you're doing this and that you have so much energy behind it. So keep doing that. Keep giving folks platform. Keep giving those our minority leaders especially the platform to share their stories, because our young people look up and say, "Hey, I'm not alone. I see somebody else out there. I see someone who looks like me. I see someone who's a part of the same group I am out there doing the leadership thing." So keep doing this. I am supporting you, all the way, and I hope that we have a chance to unpack. There's so many different lessons and so many different leadership things out there. So I hope that we have the opportunity to unpack some of those things in another podcast. Yes, that's a shameless plug to be on here again.
Let's go. I'm ready. Let's go. Awesome. I appreciate you. Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here first. Lieutenant Colonel Mike Newson, United States Air Force, 5 R's of Post Squadron Command. Until next time on SimStation Nation, I'm out.